You are a true warrior and worthy of respect.
You know, maybe this isn't the best time to be thinking about this, but I've something to ask you. Chances are we'll be heading to Denerim soon. And when we're there, I wonder if we might be able to look someone up. I'm not talking about a friend, exactly. And no, it's not that sort of friend either. The thing is, I have a sister, a half-sister. I told you about my mother, right? She was a servant at Redcliffe Castle and she had a daughter. Only I never knew about her. I don't think she knew about me either. They kept my birth a secret after all. But after I became a Grey Warden, I did some checking and, well, I found out she's still alive. In Denerim. No. I thought about writing her, but I never did. And then we were called down to Ostagar, and I never got the chance. She's the only real family I have left. The only family not also mixed up in the whole royal thing. I've just been thinking that maybe it's time I went to see her. With the blight coming and everything, I don't know if I'll ever get another chance to see her. Maybe I can help her. Warn her about the danger, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know anything about her except her name and where she lives. Her name is Goldana, and I think she remarried but still lives just outside the alienage. If we're in the area, then, well, it's worth a look.
Here I am. Oh, this should be good. Go ahead. Well, the Crows would have you believe that it is an involved process that takes years of training, the sort that tests both your resolve and your endurance. Survive that process and maybe, just maybe, you're good enough to start being considered one of them. But quite frankly, the truth is that all it requires is the desire to kill people for a living. It's surprising how well one can do in such a field. I don't know about that. It's simply a slightly different skill set from your average killer as I see it. An assassin simply specializes in striking from stealth, and in maximizing that first attack to be as lethal as possible. Debilitate your foe, either by poison or by crippling their limbs, makes any follow-up combat you need to engage in that much simpler. See? Getting paid for the act is beside the point. An assassin is more a tactical choice than a lifestyle. Of course, the Crows like to pretend that their abilities are trade secrets, shrouded in shadows and wrapped in a blanket of mystery. So let's just keep this between you and me, shall we? Hmm?
Yes? Well, here I am. That's a wonderful thought. I don't know what to...
I am impressed. My thanks.
Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind? My mother was from Denerim, and I consider myself a Ferelden. Mother served an Orlesian noblewoman who lived here when Orlais ruled. When Orlais was defeated and the common folk began to resent the presence of any Orlesian, the lady returned to Orlais. She took my mother with her. I was born in Orlais and did not set foot in Ferelden till much later. Mother was always telling me stories of her homeland. I think she missed it. She wasn't unhappy. We had a good life, and she liked Orlais well enough. I loved it, though. Valroyaux was so vibrant, colorful. Mother died when I was very young. Lady Cecily let me stay with her. I had no one else. She was quite old then, and she had me study music and dance to entertain her. It is unfair that I have more memories of Cecily than my mother. Strangely, the only thing I really remember of Mother was her scent. She kept dry flowers in her closet amongst her clothes. Small white Ferelden wildflowers with a sweet fragrance. Mother called them Andrastis Grace. They were very rare in Orlais. But enough about that. Let us move on.
So, tell me, how did you become a Grey Warden? You survived the deep roads and the darkspawn that dwell there? Truly, you were born to be a Grey Warden. No, not nothing. You are a Grey Warden, one of the last of the Ferelden Wardens. We depend on you now. Take heart, dear friend. You survived, even when you were not expected to. We do not know yet what lies in store for you, or the name you carry. It is not so bad, is it, being a Grey Warden? Sometimes it gives me comfort to think that everything will end up the way it's supposed to, that it will be all right. You were chosen. You survived the joining when others did not. Perhaps it was meant to be.
You are not quite as callow as I thought. That is unexpected. You're welcome. I caged myself. A weak mind is a deadly foe, as you are no doubt aware. That is complicated. I told you before that I was sent here. I was not sent alone. I came to your lands with 7 of the Beresad, my brothers, to seek answers about the Blight. We made our way across the Ferelden countryside without incident, seeing nothing of the threat we were sent to observe. Until the night we camped by Lake Calenhad. They came from everywhere. The earth beneath our feet, the air above us. Our own shadows harbored the darkspawn. I saw the last of the creatures cut down, too late. I fell. I heard the stories of Ostagar. Your kith stood their ground when others fled. No one can do more than that. I don't know how long I lay on the battlefield among the dead, nor do I know how the farmers found me. I only know that when I woke I was no longer among my brothers, and my sword was gone from my hand. Perhaps. I searched for it, and when that failed I asked my rescuers what had become of it. They said they found me with nothing. I did. I knew they didn't have the blade. They had no reason to lie to me. I panicked. Unthinking, I struck them down. I know I cannot justify what I have done. My honor is forfeit. That sword was made for my hand alone. I have carried it from the day I was set into the Beresad. I was to die wielding it for my people. Even if I could cross Ferelden and Tevinter unarmed and alone to bring my report to the Arishok, I would be slain on sight by the Antam. They would know me as soulless, a deserter. No soldier would cast aside his blade while he drew breath. If I knew where to look, it would be in my hand now. Near Lake Calenhad. Perhaps those words are empty, but thank you all the same.
It doesn't have better things to do. I like to think of them as accessories. I suspect that it is an art that was practiced when golems were more, commonplace. My former master collected whatever lore he could find on the subject. He searched far and wide to collect what crystals he could and then added them. It is not an unpleasant sensation. So I would assume. My former master enjoyed poking around the ruins in the deep roads after all, and bartering with others who did. As I understand it, the crystals allow me to alter the flow of magic around me. Wilhelm had hoped to turn me into a battery of mana, something he could tap at will. Not really, although now that I think of it, these attempts may be what caused my disruption. Some of the crystals increase the presence of mana, some absorb or reflect spells. There are various kinds. All I can promise is that should it ever find one of these crystals, I can likely tell it the function and what it would do if added to me. Why not? I don't get to wear clothing and other adornments like the rest of you creatures after all. That answers its question, I assume? Unless it has more. Did I not already tell it that I do not remember doing such? I remember having a master. My memories of what happened to him are vague. Clever and true. Oh, very well. Let me see what I can recall. My former master enjoyed experimenting upon me. I remember that much. There was tinkering with spells, and then the crystals. He was very eager to alter my function, I think. Flattery, and obvious flattery, too. I feel warm and fuzzy inside. He possessed my control rod, and back then, it would have prevented me from doing anything he did not command me to, no matter how I might have wished to. So what happened? I am unsure. He was experimenting, and then nothing. Oh, ho, ho. It does like to laugh, does it? But who knows? I may have such a thing. And then he was gone. I was standing where I was, in the village, and I could no longer move. The villagers came, poked and prodded me in fear, and then realized they could neither move me nor destroy me, so they simply left me. And in time, I forgot I hadn't stood there all along. Huh. Wonder? I was glad that he was gone. For so many years, I'd had to leap to that little toadstool's every command. Get this, pick up that, put it down, pick it up again. The gall! At first, I'd hoped he'd simply decided to leave me there paralyzed. An acceptable trade-off. After years passed, I simply stopped caring. Possibly. Except that he was not experimenting with the crystals at the time, I think. But my memory is not good. It may be correct. Whatever the mage did seemed to render the control rod useless, for which I should be thankful, yes? And provided it doesn't decide to copy his experiments, not that I would allow it, it is nothing to fear from me. Much. The things that it fights, and it fights things often, that is a different story. Let us get back to the walking and the fighting. My stone is beginning to itch again.
If there's anything I can do for you, please, please, tell me.
There's terrible news. Everyone is talking about a battle in the north between Logain's men and Ban Bronik. The Ban was utterly crushed. Someone told me that he was meeting with Logain to talk terms, but I don't believe it. Surely Logain would never attack someone attempting to parley. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. Of course. Good fortune to you.
Goodbye.
Yes? If you must. You are very cute to ask so many questions. Really? Perhaps we should be wrapped in ribbons and adorned with flowers. So cute are we, too. My mother has been hunted from time to time, yes, by Templar fools like Alistair, which should tell you how successful they generally were. Flemeth made a bit of a game of it, in fact. The Templars would come again, and she would look at me and smile and say that the fun was to begin once more. I am unsure. I was too young to understand, and perhaps 'twas bravado on Flemeth's part, or perhaps she was merely amused. I will never know. Flemeth would warn them once. 'Twas a warning they inevitably failed to heed. And then the true game began. Often Flemeth would use me as bait, a little girl to scream and run and lure the Templars deeper into the wilds and to their doom. 'Twas a game, and I a young girl. If I didn't get to play, I would have been very upset. Thankfully, the wilds is a vast place. Once they found us, Flemeth would simply move us elsewhere, and we would be lost within the forest once again. I did not understand the danger we faced until I was much older. I had never heard of apostates or maleficarum. You do not know? The zealots use that word for any magic they do not control. The Chantry sees any mages not leashed to the circle of magi as apostates, and apostates could become maleficarum, evil mages that resort to blood magic and become demon-enslaved abominations. It may even be true, still, those of us who prefer freedom see no reason to submit. Thank you for small favors, then, at the very least. Enough of this talk. Let us return to the task at hand.
Yes.
Indeed.
Sire, I have more news. Yes. Well, it seems that the fighting has gone
Enough.
exactly as you...
I would like to know what you intend to accomplish, Father. Should we not be fighting the Darkspawn instead of each other?
The nobility should be brought into line and then the Darkspawn defeated. This is no true blight, Anora. Only Kaelin's vanity demanded it be so.
Beg pardon, sire. But blight or no, we may not have the manpower to face the Darkspawn soon.
Kaelin approached your legions for support, did he
Never!
not?
Marek and I drove those bastards out! We'll not roll out the welcome for them now.
We need help, Father. We cannot deal with this crisis alone.
Ferelden will stand on its own! I will lead it through this, Anora. You must have faith in me.
Did you kill Kaelin?
Kaelin's death was his own doing.
right.
You ate my entire bag of herbs, you foolish dog. Do not think I am unaware of where it went. It is your own fault for being so entirely gluttonous. Several of those herbs were poisonous. You should be pleased they did not kill you. Do not be ridiculous. I am certainly not going to give you more, even if I did have more to give. Oh, you have some nerve, creature. And your breath leaves much to be desired. Off you go. We shall see. I promise nothing.
Good day.
Magic exists to serve man and never to rule over him. Foul and corrupt are they who have taken his gift and turned it against his children.
They shall be named Maleficar, accursed ones. They shall find no rest in this world or beyond.
I was getting to that part. The one who repents, who has faith unshaken by the darkness of the world, and roasts not, nor gloats over the misfortunes of the weak, but takes delight in the Maker's law and creations.
Boasts. It's boasts, sister, not roasts.
She shall know the peace of the Maker's benediction. The light shall lead her safely through the paths of this world and into the next.
Peace, sister, peace. She shall know the peace of the Maker's benediction.
The veil holds no uncertainty for her, and she will know no fear of death, for the Maker shall be her beacon and her shield, her foundation and her...
There's no veal in the chant. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you?
Me too. I wonder why nobody ever taught me her version of the chant when I was a Templar.
Oh. Hello, dear. Can we help you?
What she means is, in Andraste's name, be welcome.
Stop correcting me! What would Andraste do? That's what you should be concerned with, I say. Andraste was no fuss budget. Praying for the good people of Denerim who've lost loved ones at Ostagar. It's usual to recite a stanza from Transfigurations when you pray for the departed.
It's usual to recite the stanza correctly.
But that's what I said. Tell you about the chant? What? As if it's a cake you might buy? Well, it's done enough, but a little too much nutmeg for my taste.
Sister, instructing the ignorant is a sacred duty of the chantry.
Fine, then. What do you want to know? It's the 10th stanza from the Transfigurations. Lovely canticle, that one. Oh, you should have heard Brother Caedmon sing it, though. He had a voice like a bucket full of toads. Revered Mother Boann, bless her heart, always said, if we had more voices like his, the Maker couldn't fail to take note of us. It was tragic, really. Such a surprise.
We don't speak of that.
He was in charge of the lyrium storehouse. It wasn't good for him, you see. He took off all his clothes in the middle of the chant one summer day and ran into the street. He tripped and fell into the vat of elderberry wine for the feast and drowned. We were 6 days drying him out for his cremation. He looked like a pickled egg. So tragic. Oh, there are some very stirring canticles about doom and wrath.
Darkspawn were created by mankind's second sin, pride. Arrogance became a great caged beast in the lands of Tevinter, an emptiness that consumed all and could never be filled. To satisfy its hunger, the mage lords assaulted the Golden City, heart of all creation, to take the Maker's power for themselves.
Why does no one ever sing the good stanzas during chantry services anymore? They speak them. It's called the chant of light, not the speech of light.
Sister, would you kindly stop messing up the chant?
See how you like being interrupted.
Well, you get the general idea, I'm sure.
Why would it?
Sister, that's hardly appropriate. There's no need to be rude to anyone, even if they are ignorant and godless.
Of course not, dear. You just don't know anything about the chant, and you don't have any gods. Now, where's the fun in belonging to the chantry if you can't proselytize to the heathens a bit?
Blessings of the Maker and of Andraste, his bride, upon you.
And after much sweat, blood and toil, her labors ended, and the world marveled at what she wrought.
Yes.
Strange that matters can be so tumultuous and yet the day still be so bright.
Oh, my pardon. Just thinking aloud. Are you here for the Chanter's Board? Well-armed individuals that visit the rectory tend to be here for that. Chanter Rosamond is tireless and resolute in her duties. I'm sure you can find something of interest on her board. I am Sister Justine, curator of the reliquary of this chantry. And pride again. It is hard to live up to the example of Andraste. I have always been fascinated with history. What better place to indulge that than the birthplace of the Maker's prophet? To be the curator of this chantry and to be so young. I fight a battle with pride, and hopefully the Maker can forgive my occasional defeat. The archivist tends the books, and I tend the sacred relics. I also search for more to add to our collection, which is more difficult than it sounds. My thought exactly, but I'm perpetually amazed at how quickly people accept fantastic claims at face value. A hawker on the street will claim to have an actual finger bone of Andraste. In this city alone, you could make the skeleton of 10 prophets from fingers alone. Curators often accept them as genuine. I worry about the authenticity of even our most holy artifacts. Thriving, especially in a holy city like Denerim. When I was a curator of a much smaller chantry in Orlais, I thought that false relics slipped through because of laziness. But the life of the cloth is never an easy one, and that explanation always seemed hollow to me. Now I believe it's the seduction of the divine. We all want a personal connection to the Maker. We want to believe that what we hold in our hands is the actual sandal that slipped from Andraste's foot before the fires consumed her. Faith is of the heart, not of the head. When the heart is ungoverned by reason, charlatans have powerful tools to deceive. And often close to heretical. But I believe that the truth only increases the awe of the Maker and his prophet, not demean it. Even false symbols have the power to inspire, but it seems every year we fall more out of touch with the real Andraste. Well, there's one that might be real. I couldn't prove it wasn't. Perhaps you can understand my skepticism. So many claims, so few truths. Certainly, my research indicates that all of the ashes were gathered into a pot or urn, but it's been lost for centuries. That doesn't stop hawkers from selling pinches of the ashes of Andraste to gullible pilgrims. The real ashes may still be hidden somewhere, though it's possible the urn broke. You've shown admirable patience listening to my diatribe before. I will not bore you again. Suffice it to say, I look for and authenticate holy relics for the chantry. Of course, enjoy your visit to the Chantry.
In the name of Andraste, Bride of the Maker, be welcome in this house. While the cathedral is closed, if you need to make wedding or funeral arrangements, you'll have to talk to Sister Olma.
Did someone die? I remember a funeral.
King Kalen died, remember? Along with most of the army at Ostagar? Maker guide them all.
That which you fear, living in the shadow of death alone, I have seen it is only a cloud passing before the sun.
The death toll at Ostagar was staggering. We've had a funeral every day for a lost son or daughter of Denerim, and we've many more yet to hold.
Are they singing the chant now? It's a funeral, isn't it?
He should have retired to Val Royeaux years ago, but he wanted to stay and serve the remainder of his days in his homeland. It's the lyrium that does this. He wouldn't be a Templar anymore.
Blessed are they who stand before the corrupt and the wicked and do not falter.
He doesn't forget who he is, even if he can't remember anything else. May the light of the Maker guide your steps.
All men are the work of our Maker's hands, from the lowest slaves to the highest kings. Those who bring ham without provocation to the least of his children are breaded and accursed by the Maker.
Those who bring ham? And the Maker does not bread sinners.
Oh, would you stop correcting me? I know the chant like the back of my hand.
Puppy!
As there is but one world, one life, there is but one God.
A little something extra, for friendship.
And I'm off.
My client appreciates your generosity.
I've my eye on you.
You here to report another crime? I swear we should just cordon off the entire district. Oh, can I help you, Warden? Your likeness was passed around to the senior guardsman at the palace. I must say, the sketch didn't do you much justice. Don't worry, even if I believed the official story of what happened at Ostagar, I'm no fool. If I asked my men to apprehend you, they'd all run and cry big sobby tears in their courtesans' bosoms and leave me all alone to be skewered. Don't disturb the peace in the market, and that's well enough for me. The lower market isn't deemed important by the captain of the guard, even less with Arl Howe in charge. So when I finally get the new men I request, I get the delightful surprise of discovering they're Lord Such-and-Such's illegitimate, untrained, moronic whelps. But lords keep sending me more of them. It's decent pay, no expectations, a uniform. So I have a legion of bastards to protect the market from pickpockets, stabbings, and whatnot, and Arl Howe's specially picked men are the worst of the lot. With the bastards, I just have to worry about dicing, the odd bit of drool, or yelling at them too loudly and hurting their poor feelings, and then getting chewed out by their noble fathers. But I swear, the Arl's men are more criminal than the miscreants we occasionally arrest. Some of them are the criminals we have to arrest. So if your lifeblood isn't draining in the gutters as we speak, don't bother reporting it. What? You're serious?
I mean, yes, I could use help. I've got a pretty popular establishment that's crawling with mercenaries. If I send my boys in, someone might get, Maker forbid, hurt, and I'll have to explain to their noble fathers that being a guard is actually dangerous. Do a good job and I'll see you get some silver in your pockets, maybe even some gold. The name of the whorehouse is the Pearl. Beat down any mercenaries that are out of line and send them a message. I said beat down, not kill. Let me make that really clear. Not on fire, or exploded, or make a nose, whatever type of grisly death you can dream up. Sorry. Used to giving orders to my boys. Just leave them breathing and I'll be happy. Thank you, Warden. Happy hunting.
Another? I just gave you one, fool dog. Perhaps you should go and hunt something then. For a warrior beast, you are remarkably over-dependent. Oh, very well. But tell no one.
Welcome, friends. Welcome to Wade's Emporium. We have the finest armors in Denerim, maybe in all of Ferelden. How may we assist you? You're obviously not from around here. Wade is possibly the most brilliant armorsmith in all of Ferelden.
That's not true, Herin. The dwarves of Orzammar make the finest armors around. These piles of rust droppings you force me to make are worthless compared to their work. You never let me have the time, the materials to make something special.
Customers expect their armor in a timely fashion, not years late like the last time.
That happened once, just once, and you never let it drop. Centuries. You hear that, you young mutt? Centuries! What's an extra year here and there to make something wonderful?
Thank you, Dwarf. Your fine point has made my life so much richer. The city is full to bursting. With people from the country coming, trade is thriving. Especially those that deal in weapons and armor. Master Wade is especially in demand. Certainly.
Herin, the bloody customers are bothering me again. What do I pay you for, anyhow?
Sorry. Wade is a genius. Truly, you will be astonished by his work. But he doesn't deal with customers. If you need anything, please ask me.
And tell him I don't want anyone looking over my shoulders either. I'm thinking, blast it all.
Truly sorry, sire.
They say you can get anything here. I once got pickpocketed. That's my sister's house. I'm almost sure of it. This is the right address. She could be inside. Could we go and see? Do I seem a little nervous? I am. I really don't know what to expect. I'd like you to be there with me if you're willing. Or we could leave, I suppose. We really don't have time to pay a visit, do we? Maybe we should go. Will she even know who I am? Does she even know I exist? My sister. That sounds very strange. Sister. Oh, now I'm babbling. Maybe we should go. Let's go. Let's just go. Hello?
Hey, you have linens to wash? I charge 3 bits on a bundle. You won't find better. And don't trust what that Natalia woman tells you either. She's foreign and she'll rob you blind.
I'm not here to have any wash done. My name's Alistair. Well, this may sound sort of strange, but are you Goldana? If so, I suppose I'm your brother.
My what? I am Goldana, yes. How do you know my name? What kind of tomfoolery are you folk up to?
Yes, I think so. I'm sure of it, in fact. Look, our mother, she worked as a servant in Redcliffe Castle a long time ago before she died. Do you know about that?
You! I knew it! They told me you was dead. They told me the babe was dead along with mother, but I knew they was lying.
They told you I was dead? Who? Who told you that?
Them's at the castle. I told them the babe was the king's and they said he was dead. Gave me a coin to shut my mouth and sent me on my way. I knew it.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that. The babe didn't die. I'm him. I'm your brother.
For all the good it does me. You killed mother, you did, and I've had to scrape by all this time. That coin didn't last long, and when I went back, they ran me off. And who in the Maker's name are you? Some dwarf carrying all his riches, I expect?
Hey, don't speak to him that way. He's my friend, and a Grey Warden just like me.
Oh, I see. A prince and a Grey Warden too. Well, who am I to think poorly of someone so high and mighty compared to me? I don't know you, boy. Your royal father forced himself on my mother and took her away from me. And what do I got to show for it? Nothing. They tricked me good. I should have told everyone. I got 5 mouths to feed. And unless you can help with that, I got less than no use for you.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Well? So he's found it. I'm his sister. But what are you to me, boy? Except the one who took my mother away,
You think I wished her dead? I never wanted that. I didn't have the life you think I did, Goldana.
I suppose not. A bastard is still a bastard, isn't he? But... brother or no, I've got 5 mouths to feed and no time to spare until they are.
And let me promise you this, Goldana. I'll do whatever I can, speak to whomever I have to ensure you and your children are taken care of.
That sounds all well and fine. But you'll have to forgive me if I don't exactly hold my breath.
You have my promise. I can't give you more than that. Let's go. I want to go. Goodbye, sister. Well, that was not what I expected, to put it lightly. I lived up to my promise, I suppose, but this is the family I've been wondering about all my life? I can't believe it. I guess I was expecting her to accept me without question. Isn't that what family is supposed to do? I feel like a complete idiot. Yes, I suppose you're right. I should. Let's just go. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Good day. The market is busy, is it not? Come, rest here. I have the finest selection of flowers and Orlesian-scented oils in all of Denerim. For a lady friend, perhaps? Roses can open any woman's heart, you know. And smelling good, is not? Ferelden is no longer full of barbarians. People judge with their noses as well as their ears and eyes. But you look more armed than most of my patrons. Perhaps you seek the armor smith, Wade. Then to the south? He is quite the artiste, yes? Much of the city is still a mystery to me, but the markets is like my home. Circle and sorcered objects can be found in the wonders of Thedas, in the alleyway north. The armorer, Wade, and his emporium are just to the south. If you need work, outside the rectory to the southeast is a chanter's board. And if your thirst is strong, head to the Nord Noble Tavern north of here. Be prepared, though. They do put on many airs. I am from Orlais. You've heard of us, no? This Denerim is a fine city, but I miss my Varroyo. She's quite beautiful this time of year. What I miss most are the clothes. The avenue of flowers this time of year has so many colors. And the skirts. Fine wools, cloths, many only the noble-born can afford. Ferelden is more muted. Its fashion's quite old. But I like the people of this city very much. Orlais has many good things, but it is sometimes not so good to be common. My brother had trouble with a chevalier and we departed shortly after. You know so little of Orlais here. The chevaliers are knights of the highest order. They are the most skilled in the world. Their discipline, formidable. For their service, they're allowed privileges. They can do whatever they want to the lesser born. A chevalier took an interest in me. It was his right, but it was unwelcome. Incensed, my brother hit him over the head with a pot. Such a thing is almost treason. We left that very night and came here. That and more. Some revere them for their skill and their high service, but others tread lightly. As lightly as the mouse in the cat's den. If you will excuse me, I feel a touch lightheaded.
Turn your attention elsewhere. My business does not concern you. Thank you and farewell.
What is it? I have work to do. What does it say? I knew this would happen. Just when I was starting to get good. Well, thanks, I guess.
Dwarven crafts. Fine dwarven crafts. Direct from Orzammar. You won't find better. Dwarven crafts. Fine dwarven...
My lord. My lord Hydukin? Is that really you? I knew you survived. I never stopped believing it. And neither did your father. Before I left for the surface, King Endron sent for me. It was almost more than I could endure, seeing him so. As if he were long dead and rotten, and now merely an empty husk collapsing in on itself. He could not even rise from his bed. And the room stank of decay. He asked me to give you the shield of Hydukin. And this letter. I have carried them with me since I left Orzammar. As angry as I once was with the king, when I saw him that final time, I pitied him. His eyes have haunted me since. If it were possible for a man to die of regret, I think King Endrin did. But we shouldn't dwell on the past. I can hardly tell you how good it is to see you alive. I am far happier in my exile than I ever expected to be. The Gorham you knew was a fool. I've learned more from the surface dwarves than they have from me. I was injured in my travels here. My leg healed crooked and I will never fight again. And I have a new life now. I'm married into a surface family. My wife is lovely and her father is the best smith in Denerim. We're expecting our firstborn before the spring. I would love to introduce you, but you must have more important business than hearing about me. Have a look at my father-in-law's crafts. All fine work, and I'll cut you a discount. You do your father proud, my lord. Certainly.
I recognize you. From Ostagar. Andraste's blood. You're a Grey Warden. Duncan's apprentice. You killed my friend. And good King Cailan. I demand satisfaction, sir. So you would compound slander on top of treason? You dare smear Terran Loghain's word? I do not like your tone, sir. But you may be right. I may regret this, but I cannot duel someone who may be guiltless. Leave, Warden. If I find proof, we will meet again.
Another visitor in my store. Enjoy browsing my wares. Master Trader Ignacio, at your service, good sir. My cousin and I have trade connections all along the seaways. We have furniture, silks, carvings, and much more. Caesar handles the trade stock, I handle other affairs. Business deals, meetings. Caesar makes it so I am free of the day-to-day concerns of our store. No, I am not. I am a trader at heart. My home is the road. But I was born past the waking sea in Antiva. It has been many, many years since I have seen her. But the road is a better mistress than my home city ever was. On the docks of Rialto, life is cheap. As cheap as the dockside ale and the soiled whores. You can live a longer life out here. And a wise man can make a comfortable fortune in time. Straightforward, predictable danger is refreshing to me. Any moment in Rialto the streets can run red, and often do. I'd take Darkspawn any day. At least you can see them coming. No. Not yet. Perhaps one day. It has been many, many years since I have seen her. Luck be to you, Warden.
If you have coin, welcome to our shop. If not, move along. Too many refugees blocking customers. I didn't think so, sir. Too much flesh on the bones. You walk tall, proud, not hunched. Sad times in Ferelden. Better trade cities to the north, but plenty good trade here. Now with war and blight, business is bad. Oh, yes.
Right.
It's so nice to be in civilization. You can't buy Orlesian silks anywhere in Southreach.
I hear there's been more fighting. The Queen is determined to see this through, isn't she?
My brother says he's leaving for the Free Marches. Says Ferelden is done for.
Much more of this, and I may have to agree with him.
Maker's blessing to you.
Message for you, my lord. More things to deliver. Goodbye.
By order of the new Earl of Denerim, no one is to enter the alienage. There's been an elven uprising. Knifeears even have the gall to attack the Jarl's only son. Killed him in cold blood. With the whole Urian family dead, the regent appointed Rendon Howe of Amaranthine the new Jarl of Denerim. First thing he did was lead a purge of the alienage. It's a mess in there. When things are put back in order, the gates will be reopened. Now on your way.
the news is troubling these days. When will the war end? My cousin was sent to Ostagar before the battle. I hope he's all right.
What can I get you, stranger? There's news come out of Redcliffe at last. Seems that Arl Eamon has come down with some deadly sickness, probably the blight, and he may even die. If he does, that probably means no one else can stand up to Tyrn Logain in the Landsmeet. Rather fortunate turn for Tyrn, no? Anything else you need? Right, I'll show you around. What can I get you, stranger?
I'm a Crimson Ore. Which way you looking, or we'll rip your damned eyes out and piss in your skull! Another round for me men!
Now we drink more! Now we drink more!
I suppose you want a drink now, do you?
Maker's blessings upon you, Warden. Your efforts are greatly appreciated.
My shift's nearly over. Thank Andraste.
So what's the deal with you and him anyway? Dare I ask?
Him? Him who? Is this supposed to mean something to me?
You know exactly who I'm talking about, Mr. Let's Make Kissy Faces over there.
My. You are jealous, aren't you? Did I take your favorite Grey Warden away from you?
What? I'm not jealous. I'm horrified.
Those blushing cheeks of yours tell a different tale.
These blushing cheeks are terrified that you'll suck all the blood out of them once you're finished with him.
If I feel the need to suck on anything of yours, Alistair, you'll be the first to know.
That was so not what I meant.
Perhaps we should go and tell him together about your touching concerns. Perhaps he'll pay more attention to you if you ask nicely.
Uh-huh. I think we're done here.
Done before you started, in fact.
You hear about a note? Maybe we have some things we can talk about. You are of great interest to me. Who do you blame for a death? The sword or the swordsman? Crows are swords, instruments used by someone else for their own reasons. So, one of our swords is hired out. He and his employees will do their job or die trying, but the crows as a whole have no bias. I can't stress enough that I wasn't hired to do anything. An associate was, and he's failed. And failed badly. A client can always hire more help if the job isn't done the first time. But I am hoping we can make sure that doesn't happen. A man's word is vital in any profession, especially delicate ones. Something like that. Ferelden is a busy place. Blight, civil war, other mayhem. Lots of people not getting along. Sometimes they really don't get along. Maybe want to do something about it. The people that handle that sort of thing can get real busy. You could say that. Not many people we can turn to. So, someone that's crossed our path and lived, well, maybe they could help out. Make some coin. Everyone wins. I hand you a scroll. You read it, you learn about someone interesting. If you find out something happens to him, something unfortunate, then if we talk again, I give you money for letting me know. You don't like what's on the scroll, don't do anything. Maybe he has an accident and someone else tells me all about it. You can never be too careful. Can you blame someone for being circumspect? That I cannot do. One master has a contract on you. But if you help us out, maybe if that master asks for help, he'll just get silence, yes? There you go. Makes for fine reading. If that's all, luck be to you.
Going, and I'm off. Yes.
Yes, make it quick. Strange. Let's see this. I knew it! I gave that man the best 7 weeks of my life. Well, I guess he won't have me to push around anymore. Ha!
Welcome to the wonders of Thedas. We carry items crafted by the Circle, as well as a variety of antiquities. Is there anything you would like to see? Welcome to the wonders of...
Where do you think they get all this stuff? You think they, have any miniature golem dolls?
Going. And I'm off.
I won't take the blame for this one. This was bad from the start. No way he was here to deal. Thanks. I ain't sticking around to see how this turns out.
Dwarven crafts. Fine dwarven crafts. Direct from Orzammar.
Yes?
I hope you like heroes, my lady. Because your husband died like one.
Why? What did he do to deserve this?
Here I am. Oh, I certainly could, but I won't. I swore to the crows that the things they taught me were to remain a secret. And while, yes, they are already angry at me, I'd rather not push things, you see. If you are truly insistent, well, let me think about it. The crows are already angry at me, yes? Who knows?
Something on your mind? Of course. You never asked? All right. If you want the full explanation, I'll give it to you. The thing is, I'm used to not telling anyone who didn't already know. It was always a secret. Even Duncan was the only Grey Warden who knew. And then after the battle, when I should have told you, I don't know, it seemed like it was too late by then. How do you just tell someone that? Yes, well, I suppose part of me kind of liked you not knowing. It's just that anyone who's ever found out has treated me differently afterwards. I was the bastard prince instead of just being Alistair. I know that must sound stupid to you, but I hate that it shaped my entire life. I never wanted it, but I certainly don't want to be king. The very idea of it terrifies me. Hello? Have you met me? I'm no leader of men. I don't want to be the person sitting on the throne and making decisions that affect the lives of others. It just isn't me. I guess I should be thankful that Arl Eamon is far more likely to inherit the throne. If he's all right. Oh, I hope he's all right. And for what it's worth, I'm sorry for not telling you sooner. It was a dumb thing to do. I guess it's kind of a relief that you know now. Let's go.
Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind? Where did you hear this? And you believe everything you hear? Not all minstrels are spies. Most are just singers and storytellers, but some of them are what we call bards. Many use the two words minstrel and bard interchangeably, but to do so in Orlais would cause misunderstanding. Bards are minstrels and more. Spies, as you say. Some say there is a bard order, but I don't think this is true. Many bards work alone or in small groups, doing the bidding of a patron who pays for their services. If there is an organization behind it all, no one knows who they are. The Empress must have her own bards at her disposal, I suppose, but many are more self-serving. In Orlais, there is much rivalry amongst the highborn. They fight over land, influence, and the favor of the Empress. But they cannot do this openly because it is impolite, and in public, they wear smiling faces and pretend to be civil. In secret, they plot and scheme to destroy each other. It is a game completely meaningless to anyone but its players. I have revealed too much, it seems, but it doesn't matter what I used to be. It is the past. I found myself in Ferelden and sheltered from bad weather in the Chantry, and when the storm passed, I just did not want to leave. I like to say the Maker brought me here. Something I can help with? That's an idea. I've watched you, and I do think you'd find some of my skills quite easy to pick up. Let's just go over there, away from the others. For safety, yes? I expect there shall be daggers flying about willy-nilly for a time.
I must ask, what does being a Grey Warden mean to you? There's that, of course. But there's more to being a Grey Warden than killing Darkspawn and saving the world from the Blight. Ultimately, being a Grey Warden is about serving others. About serving all people, whether elves or dwarves or men. As a Grey Warden, you are a guardian of men. And you guard them because their continued existence is more important than you are. Thus it is you who serves, not they. A good king, a true king who cares for his land, uses his power to rule firmly but fairly. He serves his people first and foremost. The king who does not do this, who believes that he is entitled to his power, who abuses it and uses it for his own means, is a tyrant. If you live apart from others and your actions affect only you, then you may do as you wish. But if you have power, influence, and strength, your every action will be as a drop of water in a clear, still pond. The drop causes ripples, and ripples spread. Think of how far they will go, how wide they will become, how will they affect the pond. But I've lectured enough for today. I should stop before I wear out my welcome.
You called. I am hardly surprised. To put it lightly, no one has a place here. Your farmers wish to be merchants. The merchants dream of being nobles, and the nobles become warriors. No one is content to be who they are. Perhaps. It's strange to be in a crowd and hear a language that is not your own. To see faces that are and aren't like yours. I miss the smells of Saharon. Tea and incense and the sea. Ferelden smells of wet dogs. True. I was trying to forget that part. Shall we move on? What does that accomplish? The farmer who buys a shop is never a merchant. He is always a farmer turned merchant. He carries his old life with him as a turtle carries its shell. Does it? It's also his weakness. If he stumbles and falls over, it pins him on his back. It is better to armor yourself with no more than what you need. One life, one duty. Shall we move on? There is interesting food here. You have a thing. It doesn't have a word in the Kunari tongue. Little baked things like bread, but sweet and crumbly. Yes, we have no such things in our lands. This should be remedied. Shall we move on? As you wish.
Oh. It doesn't have better things to do. Oh yes, that I remember quite well. My former master, the Mage Wilhelm, he brought me. As I recall, he had acquired some position with whatever lord ruled the land. I, being little more than a glorified possession at the time, was brought along. Oh, how he enjoyed impressing the villagers with me. Gollum snarl at that villager there, be fearsome. And of course, I would have to do it. He did love using that control rod. Fondled it so much his wife actually threatened to throw it in the lake. Ha! I would have liked to have seen that. Which reminds me, where did it find the rod? Did it pay a great deal for it? Hag. I'd have happily stomped them all into paste, and then ripped down their little houses and stomped on them, too. In fact, after 30 years of watching them, I'd do it twice. What I didn't like was being ordered to do it. Dangled in front of those frightened morons like some scary thing. Once I was a statue, it took those villagers years before they'd even approach me. The first one to actually work up the nerve to touch me urinated himself. Ugh. That is where Wilhelm kept me. He wanted me out in the open where I could be frightening like a scarecrow. I was supposed to watch for thieves. Pah! Plus, his wife didn't want me indoors. She said there wasn't room for me. Hag. Humph! I was once larger, 10 feet tall. Then the loathsome hag complained that I couldn't fit through the doors. So the mage had me shrunk down. Can it believe it? And she still wanted me out. With a chisel and a lot of nerve. I traveled with the mage. He did a lot of traveling, I remember that. But where we went, it is rather fuzzy. I remember great battles, fighting many humans long ago. They were all very soft and squishy. And before that, No, there are only images. I was somewhere dark. I have no idea. Wilhelm used to brag that the dwarves stopped making golems centuries ago. I do not age as you soft creatures do. Sadly, my memory is no better. Plus, I get bored and stop paying attention. Good. I was just about done talking about it. It does like to have a good chat now and again, doesn't it?
Enchantment? Enchantment!
Yes? If you must. Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be? Oh, she is certainly old. Have no mistake of that. Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience. No doubt such a tale has mutated much over time and telling. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire. As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her. Many centuries before this land was even named Ferelden. The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the Bard and fled the castle of her husband, the dread Lord Conabar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conabar the jealous lord who looked on from afar. Lord Conabar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed. Aye, it was. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement in the first place. All would have been well had Lord Conabar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge. That was not the point. Conabar had no honor, so she would not have him. Flemeth begged the spirits to aid her, and 'twas they who slew Conabar. The demon the legend tells of came later. Lord Conabar's allies chased Flemeth, you see, chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies. The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began. I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Oft it seems her bitterness has colored her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all. The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her. You ask if I have sisters. I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one, and these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed, so should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too. The Chastened tell of a falling out between Flemeth and her daughters. They say that one day she hunted them all through the wilds and ate their hearts. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well. Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless. Nothing. I wish to know nothing more. I find myself a little envious, to tell the truth. But it matters not. Let us move on.
Yes.
Indeed.
All men are the work of our Maker's hands, from the lowest slaves to the highest.
He came at me! It's not my fault! Why'd he come at me? Yeah, they got to learn not to mess with me. Us, right? I mean, he's just going to disappear, right?
All men are the work of our Maker's hands. Correcting me. I know the chant like the back of my hand.
Dwarven crafts. Fine. You do your father proud, my lord. Certainly. You do me great honor, my lord. Dwarven crafts. Fine dwarven crafts. Direct from Orzammar.